I hate you when you blame the wine. Anyways,
Hello.
my name is Eddie.
And I'm Omari.
And we are the two voices of the week.
Start Natives.
Our culture unfiltered, discussing the way of this world.
And the next.
Two voices.
Two voices.
Queer.
Queer.
Candid.
Candid.
Discussing the way of this world and the next.
Discussing the ways of this world and the next. Discussing the ways of this world and the next.
Discussing the way of this world.
Discussing the ways of this world
Right.
And of course, we have our friend Tony with
Tony
us.
has come to join us for our
Cinema Week.
Cinema Week. And today we are doing a Cinema Week critique of The Boys in the Band.
Exactly.
2020.
Mhm. 2020.
2020. So The Boys in the Band is actually a adaptation of a play.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Which was also adapted into a film in the
70s.
70s. I actually watched the one from the 70s and I watched the most recent one, so I'll talk about that later.
Yes.
But
I only watched the new movie, the 2020 movie.
Right.
Even though the 2020 movie is a revival
Right.
of The Boys in the Band. Because
Cool.
they did it in 2018 for the play. Like
Exactly.
they did the play revival.
Yes. The story focuses on a bunch of friends who get together
Mhm.
for a friend's birthday party,
Yeah.
who is Harold.
Mhm.
Harold is turning 32. She has seniority of the group. And
Mhm.
she is, she don't play no games. That bitch is free spirited. She
Yeah.
fucks. She
Mhm.
smokes. She accepts gifts of men.
Men,
and she
any
comes and she
type
will
of
read
gifts.
the fuck out of you.
Yes, she will.
Okay, so the thing about the movie is it does take place all in one setting.
Yes.
It does feel like a play. It feels like
Mhm.
theatrical in that sense of it, like utilizing all spaces,
Mhm.
all parts of one space. But it's very interesting because it has like these archetypes of the gay community.
It very has very
Even like the down
archetype.
low version, you know,
Mhm.
or the one that's in a relationship but still
Yeah.
is the more masculine one. You have the
Exactly.
effeminate one. You have the
Mhm.
bougie one. You have the bougie one that actually can't afford anything and only, you know, layaway
Pretends to
things.
be, yeah. Mhm.
So that's the cool part
Yeah,
about
like
it.
because each character actually represents some type of a gay person in our community in a
Yes.
way, you know, like it really has all these characters and each one of them somehow represent each like
Yeah.
spectrum
Yeah,
of the
spectrum,
flag,
the full spectrum of
you
the
know,
gays.
of the
The only
gays.
thing that was missing is like trans
Yeah,
men or women.
transgender.
That was
Mhm.
really the only thing, but everything else kind of was covered.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think that's kind of just because of the time that it came from,
Mhm.
and that
And it was based on, because the thing is, the play actually was written in 1963, 68, something like that. It was around the same time the Stonewall happened.
yeah,
So it was groundbreaking around that time, because
Right.
during that time they only had, I believe it was five gay guys and 3 straight guys that were playing in the play.
Okay.
Yeah, and during that time, it was still like they had to be careful and everything because it was gonna
Because
jeopardize
like you take
their
a gay
career.
role, people assume you're gay. It doesn't even matter
Yeah.
if you're straight or not.
Mhm.
It was a like a ding to your reputation at
Correct.
that time to
Yes.
play those kind of parts.
And
Yeah.
then the way it was done is very different. And then later on, when they do the revival and then they do the movie, it's
Mhm.
like they clean the movie a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they actually did clean the movie to kind of represent what gay people actually are in the community. And that's really what I like about the movie, because the movie it's not like your typical gay movie. It really is not.
No.
You know,
Because even though there are like gay movies and stuff that came after
Mhm.
that, I do think that The Boys in the Band is its own
yeah,
version of that. Like I still have not
yes.
seen a film like that where it
Mhm.
has that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Even like watching like Noah's Ark or something like
Mhm.
that. Like it still doesn't seem the way. Also because they were catty as fuck on The Boys in the
Yes,
Band.
they
Like,
were. They were
shady
very
as fuck.
shady.
Everybody was shady. Everybody
Reading
was messy.
each other.
It was fun. A lot of it was fun, but it became very messy.
Messy.
Yeah.
Like very messy. To the point where you even like got like, damn.
Why the fuck are y'all friends?
Yes.
Because y'all
'Cause you-
clearly got things that y'all
Uh-huh.
feel about each other, but ain't nobody saying none of this.
Mhm.
Well, they say it. But it's like, it's almost like that's the thing about like the characters. It's what's interesting is like you can tell that they've done this before.
Yeah.
Like maybe not to this extent,
but they have done it before.
But they have definitely met up like this and have kind of like read each other about their insecurities several times before.
Yeah.
What ends up happening is that they're hanging out, you know, Michael has a friend, he's straight, what have you. And he comes to the party. We don't know what his intention is behind the party, but we know that he
has a secret.
He has a secret. We don't know what the secret is. We know that he does not mind saying that a man is attractive because he took interest in one of the guys there who was actually.
But if you pay attention, he singles the ones that are more masculine.
Yeah, he likes the ones that are more masculine presenting, and that's what he took an interest in.
Yeah.
He ended up bad-mouthing Emery to Michael because he felt like Emery was too much, and he didn't like his brand of humor because he was so effeminate. And then...
Like a butterfly.
Like a butterfly. And then Alan, who is the straight presenting or whatever, he jumps on Emery. Like, he fights Emery because Emery kind of, you know... he kind of poked at him a little bit.
Yeah, he pokes him. And not only that, but he also like kind of like...
his card.
In a way, it's like he gets him together.
Yeah.
Like he makes him be truthful to something that he doesn't want to be truthful to.
And also calls him out where it's like... It's almost like Emery was kind of like, bitch, you know where the fuck you are. You know what this is. You see all our gas is here. Why
like, don't pretend.
Here?
Yeah.
Kind of like, why are you here? And why are you acting like you aren't one of us?
Yes. That's the thing.
So, Alan jumped on Emery, punched him or whatever like that. And then at the beginning of the movie, you learn that Michael is insecure about like getting older. He's insecure about going bald.
Bald because he's always fixing his hair.
Yes. He has very high maintenance taste, but he does not have high maintenance coin. And everything that he has is still being paid on. He has a Hermes scarf or still being paid on.
Or he's finding ways to dodge the debt collectors because he mentions that in the movie and everything, and how he finds a way to kind of dodge them.
Right.
So you kind of get to know each character from the very beginning. Like they give you like little nuances here and there. So it's very intriguing how you kind of get introduced to these characters and seeing them how they be. Because I even like the very beginning where you have these characters and they're coming from different areas of the city trying to come together, and how they see each one of them. How you have one like at a porn star, like a porn
like a little
store or something like that. And then you see another one where he sees this guy, and then he's like, they kind of eye each other, and so he kind of like, oh, let me take a smoke and stop here to see if I can get this guy. And then they see each other, so it's like very cruising, like how we play and everything. And it's like, okay, this is the one. So then they go together. Then you see the one that is very flamboyant, and he kind of like plays around and everything.
And he done brought this little casserole that he done made.
And not only that, but he like from the very beginning when you see that character, him, and that's Emery, you can tell that he has confidence. From the very beginning, you can tell that he has confidence and that he doesn't have any. He's very unapologetic. Yes. Because I really like about him.
He really is the least fearful of the bunch.
Yes. Then you have the very kind of like very mellow, sophisticated, conservative, and that's Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah, very conservative and everything. Yeah.
Because there's only there's
only two minorities.
Yes. So in the remake, there's a black character and there's a Hispanic character. Emery is Hispanic and Bernard is black. In the original, all of the characters are white with the exception of Bernard. And I took it upon myself to watch both versions, and I kind of watched them side by side, and I would pause and play them because I wanted to see if the dialogue was the same, especially because it being written by the same guy who did the play. Yeah,
because that's another thing. He did all versions, like the play, the movie in the 70s. He was part of it. The revival.
Yeah.
And the 2020 film.
And what's his name?
Well, technically, his actual name is Edward Martino Crawley, but he is known by Mark Crawley.
Okay.
Okay. He's a New Yorker, And
New Yorker.
and yes, he died in March 7th of this year. That you kind of get to see that when they do, like, at the end of the credits, that they do in memory of him. But he was part of the movie and everything. And he was a writer.
Yeah. And for the most part, all of the dialogue is the same from the original, like, 1970 version. Some things are switched around, like maybe when things are said and when things are not said. And the pacing is a little smoother in the new version. The original version has a more theatrical kind of feel where it does move like a play, and there are long dramatic pauses or things like that where you kind of get to soak in.
Because you still have that play elements in this one. You really do have that play elements, especially the monologues. Yeah. Because I really like the monologues the way that they did them in this time. And then they still play a little bit of flashback because it's like, well, it's a movie, so why not play flashback? Right. You have the ability to do that. But even when they're still playing the flashback, they still do the monologue. Right. And I like the camera work because the camera work is still like a film. You know, you break all the walls and everything, but the way of the panning and the shots and everything, the long shots and everything is very, very theatrical. Yeah, it's very like you're watching a play.
Yeah, and maybe think about Birdman. Did you ever see Birdman? Yes, you know Birdman. How like Birdman was on like one shot.
Yeah, it was one shot. Yeah.
So that kind of thing, like where you watch the characters move through the, you know,
the area and everything,
and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really, really like that camera work that they had. I really like the art design, the production design of it, and the custom design, because each character was very, very defined by the clothes that they were wearing. Yes. They were very distinct by how they were. And the really intriguing thing about it is that each character, even though they were gay, and some of them were a little bit too feminine and a little bit too masculine, they still play not like fun, like normal and everything. And I really like the femininity of work, the pronouns and everything, because they were calling each other she and everything like that, and her, and even and when they were or even Mary. When they say Mary, you know, I like that because it's like they show confidence in themselves. They show like, I can do this. And I even like the moment where they do like, you don't have to tell me the social etiquettes that I have to uphold.
Yeah. To be normal. Like, oh, don't do too much. And it's like, girl,
because I know,
I don't give a fuck. Like, calm down, I got you. And then he's like, oh, what you think about the game tomorrow and all that shit? Like,
I like that. Even Mary, not Mary, Emery, when he switched that like more masculine voice, and I'm like, oh, okay. I like that because it was funny, but it was a mess. And I even like how he was instigating the situation.
Oh yeah, too. Yeah, because he was shit. Yeah, because because that's the thing. Like characters like Emery, and I have a friend like that. I am a bit of that. But those are the people where it's like, why do I want to hide? Yeah, it's like I don't want to hide. Like I don't want to do that, and all that other stuff, and all that posturing.
It's too much.
It's a lot to keep up. It's really lying, and that's the reason why like. Not to say that I don't lie, but I try my best to not lie because lies are a lot to keep up with. It takes a lot to keep up with a lie, especially a good lie. Yeah, it takes a lot to keep up with a lie, and it's like, don't I want to do all that? And that's truthfully all that the down low and all that stuff. It's lies. Like it's just like it's a lie that you have to invest your time into keeping up.
It is because it's too much. It's like, and not only that, but it eats the hell out of you,
because when you're not living that lie, you kind of gotta get back in your own space of like, bitch, you crying every time you ain't in front of nobody now because you just so busy lying. Alan badmouthed Emery to Michael, and it's almost like that was a turning point for Michael, where because when you at the beginning of the movie you found out that Michael does not drink anymore, and Michael is seeing an analyst because they refer to their therapist as analyst.
That was a very intriguing thing that I like about the movie,
because it used to be psychoanalyst. Yes, that is why it was psychoanalysts around that time. So that's how they referred to like their therapists who they were going to see, and because truthfully, going to see somebody like that meant that you were
you were crazy or messed up or
psychologically, altered.
Mm-hmm.
And so he badmouthed Emery to Michael, and then after that, Michael started drinking alcohol. And as Michael drinks alcohol, he begins to instigate certain things within the group.
Within the group, he becomes the wild card, and he becomes the one that is like stirs the pot.
Yeah,
he stirs the pot. But in reality, to me, the way I see it is the reason why the pot gets stirred is because of Alan. Because if Alan wasn't there, then we wouldn't have
it probably
this
would
type.
Been very mellow.
Yeah, mellow.
Not
too much and everything. Yes, they will still be having fun because that was the main thing that I liked. The way that they came together, the way that they were just dancing and laughing and talking and everything, and kind of waiting. Yeah, but until Alan came, it's like everything went to shit.
Yeah.
Like everything actually went to shit, and it's like it's so irritating and it's so aggravating in a sense because it's like, really?
Exactly.
It's like this person that in reality shouldn't have been there.
He's not even a part of the group. He's not our friend. But once he popped up and he said what he said to Michael and made him feel like, because he referred to Emery as a freak and, and all these things. And he jumped on Emery and called him a faggot and all that stuff.
Because in other words, what he did is...
He's talking about you too.
Yeah, that's really what he did.
He's not just talking about Emery, he's talking about all of you.
It's like he's talking about everybody. Like he's insulting everybody. He's insulting you. And because he felt insulted, because... One, he felt insulted because of his friend, because it's like, you're talking about my friend. But on top of that, it's like, you also talking about me. I'm not being bitch.
You're talking about me, especially when I heard, because that's the thing, Michael had a friend named Justin who we never see, but apparently Justin and Alan
had a thing
around, and he told Michael all about it. So once Michael got drunk, he started playing the game, because the game was you got to pick up the phone and call somebody, tell them that you love them, that you always love the person you love in your life. And you supposed to pick up the phone and call them and tell them that you love them.
Yeah.
And so everybody starts doing it. And that's when Bernard was the first one, the black one. He was the first one to make the call. And he was the first one to really get exposed and be embarrassed
and everything.
Bearing his heart in front of everyone at the party. And
that was just...
It was a mess.
Yeah, it was a mess.
I also the flashbacks aren't in the old one.
Huh?
The flashbacks.
Oh, true.
So they did like flashbacks in this one for like Emery's story when he calls and Bernard's story when he calls.
Yeah, them too. That's it.
But the flashbacks aren't present in the old one.
And not Larry. Hank. Is it Hank?
Hank. Yeah,
Hank.
Yeah, Hank.
They did
and
them
Hank.
three.
Yeah.
They did
None
them
of those
three.
flashbacks are present
and
in the old one.
I like those flashbacks, and I like the stories that they were told, because it's like they're very, very relatable. Yeah. You have the story about you having a friend and you falling in love with that friend.
Yeah.
Then you have the love story about that person that you admire.
An older guy.
Yeah, liking an older guy, and you feel that that's your friend. So you have that.
And then you have everybody. And now you're like embarrassed because everybody knows that you're gay, and also that you like this guy.
You like this guy, and then you also have the other stories about cruising, and your first time cruising, and then first time like doing this and kind of actually liking this and actually going and exploring a little bit more into it, and figuring out that in reality this is who you are. Yeah. So I like those stories because they are very relatable.
Yes.
And even though all this is based on the 60s.
Yeah.
Based on the 60s.
But a lot of those characters
are
very
still, relatable to now.
Yes.
Like, it's just what society is now.
The thing that I really loved about this movie, and that I loved about the story and the setting, is that it was not like this weird HIV torture porn, but then a lot of things. But the reason why is because it was before HIV and AIDS and all that stuff became the epidemic that everybody saw it to be. That it became in like the 80s or the late 70s or whatever like that, in the 90s and all that. So I think it's weird. The timing of the play is just right. Because it's at a time of liberation and not a time of like
Lost.
Yeah, it's at a time of liberation where it's like, all right, the gays are standing up, the LGBTQ community is standing up against the straights or whoever's oppressing them, and the Stonewall.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like that moment where everything kind of took a reverse.
Yeah.
And it was just like everybody, every day your friends dying, every week your friends dying, all of this stuff. So I'm glad that it took place in that kind of space where it wasn't this kind of like, you know,
it was before that.
But it was before that. So it didn't become that kind of thing.
Because it also gives you a different type of life spectrum. It kind of gives you a different perspective of what life could have been if AIDS wouldn't have happened. Really.
Even though it's kind of weird though watching it, because it does have, even though it doesn't technically foreshadow,
but it has nuances.
And it also has characters who, if we're being realistic, the way in which those characters were living, they may not have necessarily made it through HIV and AIDS and that epidemic.
Yeah, like Harold and Larry.
Like the really promiscuous ones and stuff like that.
Not only that, even Donald.
Even Hank.
Hank too,
Cruised.
But the difference with Hank is that Hank wanted a married monogamous.
Yeah, he did.
Because even though he was like the straight guy, he also was the bisexual one.
Yeah, because he left his. He's actually bisexual in real life. So he actually left his wife for
Larry.
For Larry. He left his wife for Larry, and he has like 2 daughters.
Yeah,
and so he is not new to the scene, but he's new to being fully immersed into the scene.
To being, And then the other thing with him is like he wants monogamy. Yeah. But then you have Larry where he doesn't want monogamy. Like he cannot live. Because in a sense, it's like for him, it's monogamy is a heteronormative that is like they love each other, but they are opposite to each other. And they have different views of how gay should be or what they perceive. And then you have these other characters like Emery that, you know, he's very flaming and everything. That you have Donald that he's like the straight guy, like the ideal gay guy that you want, like the desirable one. Because you notice that between Michael and him, Michael desires Donald.
He does.
And I love how you have this too, and they're friends, and they like take their clothes off and everything. They're naked in a way in front of him, but then when the other one goes to the bathroom and everything, then Michael goes in, and you know he's still talking, but then later notices that he's naked. And it's like he looks, and it's intriguing how
lots of nuance.
All those nuances and all those things that. It really, really plays so close to who we are.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting to note that Hank and Larry's relationship, with Hank being the guy who left his wife for a man and him wanting monogamy, that he comes from that space. He comes from that heteronormative space where being monogamous is the thing.
It's normal to him.
It's the thing. Yeah. So it's like it's almost like he's trying to just basically do what I was doing here.
Yeah.
You know?
And sometimes it's like, it works, but at the same time, it might not work.
And I think that's kind of an issue with a lot of like the gay communities that we always want to, a lot of us are mirroring our mothers and fathers. Yeah. A lot of us are mirroring our straight, cis, female friends and their husbands and stuff like that, instead of us carving our own romantic path.
Yeah, because that's really what it is. It has to be that where you have to create your own normal, your own social construct.
Yeah,
because that's the problem with this. It's like, and I love that movie does that because it plays into that we have this type of social contracts. Because this is how we grew up with. Yeah. That in reality, this is not normal.
Yeah.
Because normal is only something that you perceive and not what it really is.
Yeah.
Because in reality, what is real?
Right.
In reality, what is normal? Because what normal to me might not be normal to you.
Just
and that's
like Michael.
Yes.
Because like, okay, so you know how we talked about Michael's high maintenance, he likes Hermes and all this stuff, but he can't afford any of it. You know, he's making payments on it. Then you have his friend Harold, who they're throwing a party for, where
that is the opposite of him.
He's the opposite, but he also shines the light on Michael.
Yeah.
And he lets him know, you know, you talking about I like pills and I do all this, I do stuff on my face because my skin is bad, but guess what? All of that is paid for. Mm-hmm. It's all paid for. The pills are paid for. The masks are paid for. All of that is paid for.
But
the
what do you have?
For. What you got? Because I know the thing is, me being your friend who I am, and that's the thing I think sometimes, there are dynamics amongst friends where we know each other really well. And it's like, you will want to tread lightly sometimes because it's like, bitch, I know your darkest secrets.
Yes, you don't want to embarrass them.
It's like, I would never pull out that. I would never play your darkest secrets card. But don't think that I can't. So tread lightly with me. Don't threaten me. Don't warn me. Because, bitch, we can really do this. We can do this. Let's not do that, though. Because I don't want to do that. But Michael, unfortunately, kept doing that. He kept coming at everybody. He talked about Emery for being too gay. He talked about Harold for being his bad skin. And
Harold being bad skin.
For his bad skin. He talked about Bernard for being black, and just a lot of offensive
And that
things.
was another thing that was intriguing, too, that they also play social racism. Yeah. And they talked about racism and everything. And I love how Bernard comes and say, well, I left him do that.
Yeah.
Because in other words, it's like he is also like me. Yeah. We are both minorities.
And so he doesn't feel like such a loser.
Yeah, within us, we are minorities. So if I let him, then he feels a little bit powerful.
Yeah.
In the situation. But when it becomes from you that are white, you cannot do this.
Regardless of how gay you are. Mm-hmm. And what's funny about that is
Emery.
So Emery apologized in the new one. He said, I'm sorry, Bernard, I'll never say those things to you again. In the 1970 version, and most likely in the play, so Emery is not a person of color. He is not Hispanic. He is white. And he still says those same things to Bernard. Yeah. Bernard does still excuse them for him. But I think the reason why he excuses it in the old one is because of how effeminate Emery is. Because he is, even though, yes, he's white, but he's so gay and he's so effeminate that he is an outsider.
Yeah, because he's not like the other ones.
As Bernard is black and an outsider. So that's the reason why he lets Emery get away with that. And Emery does not apologize in the old. Yeah. Also, but you know what that means? You need to go and watch the movie. Yeah, and you enjoy it. And also, don't forget to do your
daily sanely duties by following, subscribing, sharing, liking, and commenting. And what else, Tony? Oh, okay. See, you listen to Tony.
So make sure you do all of that, and we'll be good.
Yeah, and then just make sure that you go and watch the movie and everything.
Check it out. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it is.
It's interesting.
It is. I enjoyed it.
I like seeing those different versions of the gays. It's always fun. And I love seeing us not being, completely wrought by HIV and AIDS. Yeah. So that was also enjoyable.
And not so much about sex either.
It didn't become like
too sexual.
Every second,
yeah. It plays so many things about social construct and everything, and also play age. It play feminism. It play racism. It play being young and dumb because you are
young and dumb. There was a young and
very
dumb
beautiful and everything. But just watch the movie. Just watch and comment down below.
Omari.
Okay. And my name is Eddie.
And we are
the two voices of the week.
Stark Natives.
Our culture unfiltered.
Discussing the ways of
this world and the next.
So go out and be gay and be happy and be spooky because it's spooky season.